What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe build video. So there's been a number of changes in the game recently, new arcanes to explore, new enemy mechanics to work around. Most notably though, that's the crowd control ignoring eximus units, and that's shaken up the high tier defense meta pretty significantly. So let's take a look at what is probably now the best objective defending frame, and that is Frost Prime. Frost's one of the oldest frames in the game at this point, and has had massive rises and falls in his usage based on mission types, and eventually he pretty much got completely replaced by Limbo, who could do everything Frost could, but better and safer. Well, enter the changes that DE made recently to eximus units, where they would ignore crowd control abilities. Suddenly Limbo hiding safe inside his rift isn't so safe any longer. His inability to take a hit from those eximi has really swung that defensive frame crown back towards Frost. So before we can properly show why, and talk about the playstyle and why he's so good, what's the build? Well, it starts to be a typical triple umbral. It's going to require a single umbral former. We're going to be focusing on efficiency with fleeting and streamline, offsetting the duration loss from the fleeting with prime continuity, rank 8 adaptation to help with Frost's questionable survivability, and it's a rank 8 so we don't need a second umbral. Primed sure-footed on here is to deal with self-stagger weapons and the new eximus units because they all seem to knock you down, and the freeze force augment to give ourselves a damage buff. Then it's a case of trying to hit an important breakpoint that really unlocks Frost. 250% strength to allow for 100% armor strip from his avalanche. To do this, we're going to combine Umbral Intensify, plus the bonus from the triple umbrals, growing power, and the new arcane from the Zaraman, Molt Augmented. After 250 kills, you will have the extra power strength to be able to hit that 100% strip, and then we're going to be using Energize to keep our energy up. 250 kills sounds a lot. In normal missions, you're unlikely to hit that, but you don't really need the 100% strip in normal missions anyway. So the 250 kills in sort of the endless missions against heavily armored enemies, you're going to get that pretty easily, and honestly fairly quickly. The objective of this build was to get that 100% armor strip. It gives you a super strong bubble, damage buff from Feast Force, and is survivable enough to be able to take a hit so he doesn't get torn apart at higher level. I'll be honest though, that while the build's amazing, Frost is a pain in the backside to coax a build out of, mostly because his survivability is really suspect. We settled on running Gloom as the additional ability on this build to help with survivability. I really didn't want to run Gloom here, but unless you're running a heavy attacking melee with Life Strike, so you can actually get some health back, there's not a whole lot you can do extra really to make him survive high level play. I personally really wanted to run something like Roar or Eclipse for the damage, or Dispensary for, health and energy orbs on tap. Then I could have been able to drop Energize for Guardian, use Soneric for energy generation, and that's actually, honestly, all of that is a genuinely viable change to the build, but it is most likely going to tie you into specifically using a Life Strike melee. So how does that build play, and more importantly, how does it feel to play? Well, due to the fact that we aren't buffing range at all, there's actually two main ways you can play this build. You can either play this basically like me, incredibly aggressively, moving around a lot, using your 4 to freeze, strip enemies to make them easier to kill, buffing your allies with your freeze force, and generally being incredibly proactive. Like I say, that's pretty much how I'm playing it in the footage, and honestly, it is a very, very fun build, and incredibly solid too. You can also play it very defensively, play it like a true defensive build. Put up your bubble, defend that bubble with your life using Gloom, the slow from Gloom. The bubble gives you an extra slow as well. Avalanche also slows enemies down, demolishes their armor, and basically you can just demolish anything that comes into your little bubble. And you can also buff your teammates that are defending the objective as well. It's also a very, very good straight up defensive build. So you can play it in both ways and be effective, which is absolutely brilliant. I love multi-purpose builds. Most events, when they come along, they need some form of defensive frame, and with Limbo not even close to as strong as he used to be before the Eximus changes, we really need to figure out what to replace him with, trying to push the other defensive frames to high level to cover the hole that kind of nuking Limbo left. I like this build a lot. I used to loathe being the person relegated to defending the objective, but now I can play the defender, but also have a great time playing it too. It rewards both offensive and defensive play, and can suit any playstyle really that you aim for. If you are a fan of Frost, I would say that this is well worth a look. So I hope you enjoyed this video taking a look at Frost Prime. If you have any suggestions for other things to try with him, feel free to leave it in the comment below. I do read them all. However, many thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I shall catch you in the next video.